Cool. Well, apparently I need to revise it. Alright, well, so just change a few words. Yeah, I'll just switch up some words and. Alright, okay, throw in a comma. Cool. Seems good to me.
Alright. Now I'm gonna do some revision. Gave myself a whole extra couple of weeks to work on this. So I'm going to make sure that I look at my argument. I change some of the language in order to make my argument more effective. And I'm definitely going to really look at my work and make some decisions about restructuring it and just really understand what I'm saying and make sure that it makes sense to the reader. Yeah.
Alright, that was obviously meant to be a silly video for us to laugh at. However, this was a representation of the research that Nancy Sommers conducted in her article titled Revision Strategies of Student Writers and Experienced Adult Writers. Example right there of how, as I'm speaking, I can't revise what I said. I can only take it back, which is why I said I'm sorry. Although I could just cut that out of the video, but I think I'm going to keep that as an example. So Sommers' research involved a survey for what revision meant to students and experienced writers. Her main argument is that a proper understanding and appreciation for the revision process, which is not a linear process in the way that active speech is, and this understanding and appreciation of that would significantly assist students in becoming experienced writers. So the writing process, as I mentioned, is not a linear movement, which is a very important factor in her research. And so is not a linear movement in the way that speech is.
Hi. Oh.
Alright, so what kind of questions do you have for me today? What specifically do you want us to work on?
Yeah, I don't know. My professor said that I just need to come in for a revision or something because I wasn't there for my peer revision day or something. I don't know. I kind of think, like, I guess grammar. I don't think I'm very good at grammar, like commas and stuff.
Okay, so in terms of grammar, we won't look at that until the very end. And up until that point, what we're going to be focusing on is content, such as your thesis statement, the argument itself, if you stick to that argument throughout the whole entire paper, and how you articulate that argument. So we'll focus more on that type of content first, and once we sort that out, if there's no major issues with the paper, then we'll go into focusing on grammar and the nitty-gritty details. Does that make sense?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright. Alright, cool. Cool.
Okay, perfect. So, let's look at your paper. Thank you. And I'm just going to read through this. Alright, so I just read the introduction paragraph, kind of skimmed it a little bit, but where's your thesis statement?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is my thesis statement. Right here. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't even know if I did a thesis statement.
Yeah, I think that you have a sentence that leads up to a thesis statement, but it's not quite there yet. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that we articulate that in a more specific way. So it's really important that you have a thesis because the reader needs to know what your argument is and where you're going with it.
I don't know. I don't really know what my argument is. I didn't know I had to have an argument. I thought it was just research.
Okay, so let's take a look at that first. Yep, I think that it looks like your thesis statement is very specific. You have a forecast within your thesis statement, and what we want to make sure that we're focusing on is because throughout your paper, these are the things that you end up talking about. So it's good that you incorporated that in your paper because that's the majority of what you discuss throughout it. So now what we can do is we can just kind of look through all your paragraphs and make sure that each paragraph reflects back on the thesis and you're sticking to that thesis instead of going off into other tangents and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I think that, so you're saying that my paragraphs don't stick to the same topic? Okay, so I can develop this one a little bit more.
So we looked at the majority of the content and we really looked at the thesis statement and made sure that each paragraph goes back onto it. Essentially the main things that I think that you should focus on when you go home are these main sections of each paragraph linking back to your thesis statement, your conclusion, making sure that it's articulating what your argument is and you're not going off into a new topic in any way, and making sure that your argument is supported with all of the details and the evidence that you have from all of your citations and your references. So that's the main thing that you should focus on.
Okay, so as I'm writing, I can just kind of put my thoughts out there and then I can continue to switch it up and make sure that it's going in with what my argument is?
When you're writing, you want to make sure that you're constantly revising. Revising is going to happen continuously as it's a circulating cycle, and it's going to continue as you go back to this paragraph or this paragraph, as you go back to your thesis, your conclusion. You're always going to be revising. And then ultimately, at the end, you want to make sure that you look at your grammar.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
All right, well, thank you so much. So if you don't mind, if you can fill out a comment card, and it just kind of asks you what we discussed in the session, and then if there's anything that we need to improve on.
Yeah, I'll fill out a comment card for you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for coming in. We'll see you again next week.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll work on this. I'll be back. Thank you.
Hey Alex, can I talk to you really quick? We just got this comment card and just read it. Here you go.
What? Pure Eden. Proofreading.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That is not what I did.
Why sorry? We don't
promise
do that
we were
here.
Revising.
So you don't think I need to work on grammar?